Last thing you want, hi, here's your Vblock, here's your new management tool, and you're sitting there and you're looking at your whiteboard and you've got the list that says, which management tool do we get rid of so we don't have to lay off Fred? Right? There's only so much money. I would rather get rid of a management tool than a person. We like Fred. By the way, Fred's important to us. So, 3 ways. Prepackaged, connectors, adapters, plugins. We put these in, native APIs, okay? It's REST, it's SNMP, it's pretty straightforward, developer.vce.com, or professional services to do deployments. And some of them that have been done, oops, did I go 2 here? Come back. Uh-oh. Okay, well, I'll just do them verbally. So the first 2 that were done, oddly enough, were to VMware. Imagine that. vCenter and vCenter Operations. When you go into vCenter and vCenter Operations, you see a Vblock. They know what it is. And you can drill down into it, and that's actually the closest thing to a user interface you're going to find. You say, where's the interface for a Vblock? For the most part, the closest thing you'll find to it is you'll see its personification inside vCenter and vCenter Operations. And those are included with VCE Vision. You'll see logging developed by VCE. You'll see third parties like Supernanet that have developed adapters for NIMSoft. You'll see UIM developed by EMC. In the early days, we had to develop them all. Now people call us and say, we'd like to develop to your API. Really kind of neat. This is taking off. We see some others developed by VCE, BMC, ServiceNow. The whole goal about VCE, Vision Intelligent Operations, isn't to give you a new tool. You'd rather keep Fred. It's to take software and dynamically form management applications in context about a Vblock. So what can you ask it? Are each of my Vblock systems compliant with an RCM? What is an RCM? It is a release certification matrix. It is both a piece of paper and an electronically downloadable file into your Vblock that says, of those 40+ integration points with 5 significant digits of precision, what should each of them be at in order for you to be precisely sure that you are in a tested and known good environment? It's kind of a good question to ask. You know, we ask each Vblock in the factory before it ships. We occasionally drop things. Cisco and EMC would never ship us a broken anything, right? They had best quality control. They would never do that. So apparently we occasionally drop parts and break them. And we have to call downstairs. Oh, I didn't say. Our factory is on the 2nd floor where they build the VMAXs in Marlboro. I bet we can get VMAXs really fast. They cook them and then they wheel them up to us. It's pretty neat. So they bring a spare part. Do you know that sometimes spare parts are at a later revision than the thing that you bought and you put it in? And the box just says revision 4.2. And it's the 5th significant digit that matters. So we run the test and your Vblock leaves 100% certified, not off at the 4th significant digit, which by the way was a bug. That part just was sitting in the depot and hadn't been updated. What's going on in terms of events? For whatever reason, all these independent vendors that make these wonderful pieces have not agreed on what a log looks like. So we harmonize it, and we time sync these things. Come on, there we go. What's the available storage capacity? We ask a whole bunch of other questions. Here's my favorite question. It's not even in the slides. Hey, Vblock, you're running VMware 5.1 update 2 or update 1 or whatever. Pick one, whatever you want. I'd like you to run 5.5. What do I got to do? Try asking that of your existing VMware environment with whatever pieces you've had to construct. And you've constructed them beautifully, but go up and say, hey, can I have the plan? I want to run 5.5. What's the plan? Cool thing is you just tell Vision, hey, run me a RCM test against RCM 4.5.14, which contains a 5.5 VMware release, and you get the punch list. Here's what needs to be done. We've got some goodies planned. The one thing we'll probably never do is an update all button. Oh, you all have change approval boards too, huh? Yeah, you can see that fun. All right, so the whole point is the operational difference of all of the silos and the pieces versus common shared APIs that harmonize and abstract the complexity that's inside this unit. Just as we've harmonized this physically, we are harmonizing it from a software perspective. There is a future. I can't talk about this. This slide shouldn't have gotten in here. Eek. Don't take a picture of that. Because what our vision is that we end managing these as individual components. We are now here managing them as converged systems. They put that word on there again. They shouldn't. Rats. Like I said, I usually use this presentation at a non-disclosure kickoff with our customers. Wouldn't it be neat if these guys all knew about each other? Interesting. The whole point here is this is about transformation. This is about simplification. This is about removing things that you don't have to do. I work with a company that builds big pieces of machinery. I work with a lot of companies that build that. I've walked around and nowhere in the hallways in their customer centers do they say we are the best patch managers in the world. Yet they have incredible, smart people focused on that. And they're not getting to projects they want to do that are around how do we spin up another copy of our data out of our core SAP system so that we can figure out what our new opportunities are, where to get parts, when to get parts there. They have people doing stuff they don't need to do. We're trying to get rid of that. So let's ask this next question. So go ahead and get your clickers out. Do we need to do the channel thing again? Nope, no channel thing again. Good. You are armed and dangerous, all right? So which IT budget percentage below most closely represents your spend on operations? A is 30%, B is 50%, C is 70%, D is 90%, and E is unknown. Go ahead and make your votes. All right, we're good? Excellent. Which one is that? C. 70%. Boy, I used to worry about the elections in another state. This one's starting to worry me too. Wow. Okay. Well, that's actually the answer that we hear from the prognosticators and soothsayers, the analysts. They go and talk to a lot of people. The people that I get to talk to in our briefing centers, our customer technology centers, and our sales calls kind of look at it and say, yeah, that's what we tell them. We're trying to get there. It's actually often worse. Usually, the answer is we don't know. Sometimes we can help figure these things out with you. We've got some pretty interesting models that can help do it. But what people would like to get to is spending more of their time and more of their money on new software investments, and this is depressing. Only 10% of them want to buy new hardware. So we better be more than just someone putting a bunch of beautiful things in a beautiful rack and shipping it to you really fast. We better be a lot more than that, and we are. Vblock Systems, true converged infrastructure. It is engineered, manufactured, managed, supported, and sustained as one product. Do you call Cisco when you have a network problem in a Vblock? No. You call VMware when you have a disk drive fail. I'm sorry, a VMC when you have disk drive fail. No. Actually, the array's already called. It actually calls EMC, which reflects it immediately back to us, which implies that all of our customer care systems are connected, and they are. When you talk to VCE, you're talking to people who are experts in converged infrastructure. And only when we need to go to third-tier backline engineering do we expose your ticket as a live case to the investor companies, VMware, Cisco, and EMC. And we can control what we expose. And we have bidirectional feeds from the automated systems. So we bring Cisco on board, or we bring VMware on board, or we bring everybody on board. You're not trying to figure out which of these it is. This is real technology. There are actually some interesting Some interesting patent work going on with the way we did this, and it lives in the cloud and interacts between our organizations. So what is the product line? Finally a product, holy cow. System 100, these are small remote office, branch office. System 200, this is the entry-level data center product line. Takes advantage of some of the smaller EMC VNX storage products and uses pizza box servers. The 340, this takes advantage of the full breadth of the EMC VNX product family and other storage modalities. When you go upstairs, you're going to find a Vblock 340, model 5400. You're also going to find Extreme I/O in that unit. And by taking a mixed workload style Vblock 340 5400 and adding the Extreme I/O to it, you have added the ability to deal with different kinds of workloads. The canonical one for that is doing end-user computing, visualization, things that have massive amounts of I/O on a Vblock that has traditional workloads. The Vblock is designed to be friendly to many, many, many different kinds of workloads without making you go buy yet another thing. We add the enabler. We add the Extreme I/O. We add the Isilon. If you need scale-out storage, all of these within the Vblock systems. Oops. Can we go? OK, I almost went back. So good. The Vblock 720 and 740. Those are our Vmax-based systems. While the Vblock 300 series scales from 4 to 128 Cisco servers, these bad boys go from 4 to 384. Technically, they could go to 768. We just never built one that big yet. We have built them in the hundreds. And usually when someone says, I'd like 512 blades in it, we go, interesting, what are you doing with that? And then we begin to go through it all, and we begin to understand what their data protection topologies are and what their fault domains are, and we begin to get into common mode fault analysis to understand the types of events that can impact a system of that size. Usually you wind up under 200 at the very high end. Oftentimes you wind up with smaller because people want to go to an active environment and distribute their workloads. And we have such a broad breadth of amazing technologies that we've integrated into these in terms of data protection from EMC and are so closely aligned with EMC in terms of how we deploy those data protection technologies that active can be done pretty easily. It can show up out of the factory. 2 of these things can show up with vplexes built into them, all ready to go for active. I have a customer that's got a big old nasty river. They got data centers on both sides, and they got a bunch of straight shot glass between the two. As far as the Vblock knows, they have one data center. If half of it disappears, they can restart the jobs in the other one. They have one storage fabric between those sites. And they have workloads that live on site A and workloads that live in site B and workloads that will live wherever the Vblock thinks they need to live at that given time, because those are the workloads that are going to run if that river takes out one of those data centers. That comes from the factory already put together. That's pretty cool stuff. All right, so the journey, well, we've got the past, lots of variables, limited standards. Put it together yourself. There's some great recipes out there to do that. We call them reference architectures. They're kind of neat. You can start out, but that's just the beginning. You still got to execute on it, and then you've got to live with it. Today, we build integrated infrastructure, tested standards, and simplicity. And in the future, what we're building in our R&D labs is around dynamic, adaptable, intelligent infrastructure. Taking what we do for the individual system to data center scale. Come on. Here we go. Apple's journey. Well, anybody buy one of these things anymore? So why do you buy a server or a disk drive or a switch? They bought this, and now this is what's getting sold. Okay? Please do not put bad pictures on Vblocks. Vblocks are made in Texas. They're made in, headquarters is in Texas. Vblocks are nice machines. They don't want anything bad. So the journey continued. The future is the concept of the individual system becomes more logical than physical. And this is where we're going as a company. So, little history of all of the innovation at VCE. I'm not going to leave these up here, but let's just say there's a whole lot of innovation going on within VCE. We're up close to 2,000 people. And they're 2,000 of the hardest working, brightest computer scientists and electrical engineers and rack engineers. Do you know we have people who only worry about sheet metal and racks? It's actually not sheet metal. It's not stamped aluminum. It's welded steel. Because you can't ship this. It's got to survive the truck, among other things. So varieties of use cases. We also have a series of systems called specialized systems. You can think of those as fit-for-purpose appliances. Quick out of the chute. You need 2,000 end-user computing desktops and don't want to think about it. Yep, we got that. It actually sits in one rack. Boom, out it can go. It doesn't do mixed workload very good, but it is bloody tuned to death for that application. We've got systems that are designed specifically to run high-performance database queries. And we're extending those systems with databases beyond the obvious one. Systems where I've already talked about integrating the Vplex and then our large enterprise systems. That's it, guys. Please go upstairs and see the Vblock. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Dan, thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard.